So we've all been there. You spend 40 hours on a world, you finally get your elytra, you pack up your rockets, and you launch into the sky. You feel like a god. And then, Minecraft's chunk loading reminds you that you are in fact merely a peasant, playing a game held together by duct tape and Java. Today we are building the Infinite Horizon mod stack. We're combining Voxy, Chunky, C2ME, Photon Shaders, and the incredible world generation of Tectonic. Full disclosure, I'm not a programmer, I'm just a guy whose computer fans currently sound like a Boeing 747 trying to take off from a gravel driveway. My GPU is actively filing a restraining order against me as I speak, but I suffered through all this so that you don't have to. Let's go build a better Minecraft world. Alright, welcome to the Modrinth home screen. This is the launcher that I use to play Minecraft, although I'm sure this will work if you use a different launcher as well. Let's create a new instance of the game. We do a custom setup. We'll call it like and subscribe because that's what people on YouTube do. We're going to leave it with the fabric loader. Game version is correct at 26.1.2, and we do want to do stable. So let's create our instance here. You'll see it'll take just a brief moment, and now we have our instance over here, like and subscribe. We have no content installed, and that's what we need to take care of first. So let's browse content. And luckily, the first couple mods listed are things that we want. So let's just get the basics first. Nothing specific for what we're doing today. These are the mods that you would install regardless of sort of what type of Minecraft situation you're setting up. So we are going to get the Fabric API. We're going to get Sodium. We're going to get Iris shaders because we do intend to use shaders. We're going to want the cloth config. And then we're going to go down. I do want to get Ferrite core to optimize our memory usage. I also want to get mod menu just so I can access certain mods within the game. Lithium we're going to download as well for game optimization. And I think from this first set, that's everything we're going to need. But now let's talk about the mods that are specific to this series here. First up, for pre-generation, we're going to download Chunky. So type in Chunky, here it is, very good, and we're going to install that. Next up, for rendering of LODs, we are going to download Voxy. And here is that. Now, this is a different option you could go in. This is relatively new, I believe, Voxy WorldGen. It sort of does what we are doing with Chunky, I believe. I'm going to stick with Chunky just because I've used it before and I know it works in this situation. But Voxy WorldGen very well might be a good alternative if you're willing to do a little experimentation. The last mod that we're going to download from within Modrinth app is going to be Tectonic. And this is a relatively new mod from me, although the mod is not relatively new. I think it's been around for quite a while, actually. But it is a terrain generation mod that just makes Minecraft look a little bit more interesting. It makes it look less like a flat golf course and more of like an immersive, like a fantastical world. So we're going to download that as well. So let's check our instance here. Let's go over to like and subscribe, and you'll see we have a bunch of mods installed. There are a couple mods here listed that we did not expressly install, and those are to help make other mods work. Basically, they were like support mods. So this guy right here, this text placeholder API, that sort of thing. So don't worry, no one's trying to like hack your computer or what have you. They're just support mods for things that we downloaded. So the next two mods we're going to download actually aren't available on Modrinth, at least not the versions that I want. So the first thing we're going to do is go over to GitHub. All right, so we are on the GitHub landing page. We're going to go up to the search bar up here in the upper right, and we are going to type in Photon Shaders. And luckily for us, the very first hit that comes up, 6 surge / photon, is what we are wanting. Now, my previous videos, we would have to choose a different branch of these shaders if we wanted Voxy support. However, they've since rolled it all into the main branch, and so we can just stick with the default, download the main branch, and that should work just fine. To download it, we're going to go to this green code button, hit the drop down, and click on Download Zip. that will download the file to your computer, and we'll worry about where we're going to move it to in just a moment. We still need C2ME. So let's check out the C2ME GitHub site. And similarly with C2ME, the first hit, which is the C2ME fabric page, is what we want. So let's click on that, and you'll see there is a whole bunch of information here. There are a bunch of different versions of C2ME. You can see a bunch of previews, a bunch of stable versions, etc. Unfortunately for us, none of these versions are the one that we want. And that's okay though. What we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the screen, and we're going to take a trip over to the C2ME Discord server. So click on this link right here. You'll automatically get an invite that you can accept. So we're going to do that. We'll wait for the Discord to open up here. And now sort of in the navigation menu over here on the left, we are going to choose this OCL excel.to, this little guy right here. And then we're going to go up to the pin messages, and there should be downloads available in the very first pin. This is the one we want, the one that's 6.57 megabytes. It's also I believe it's a jar file. So we're going to click on it. It is going to tell us it's potentially dangerous, I believe, because it's an executable, basically, or executable. Anyways, nonetheless, we're going to continue to download. It is going to give us a warning, at least it's going to give me a warning saying it's blocked. So I'm going to still click on download suspicious file. We'll give that just a second. It'll download to our downloads folder. So now we have two files in our downloads folder. We have the C2ME jar file, and then we have a zip file for the Photon Shaders. Here's what we're going to do with those. We're going to go into our profile folder, which is in your Modrinth app. We're going to select the profile that we're working with, which is like and subscribe right here. And then we're going to put these two files in two different spots. The Photon file is going to go into shader packs. So let's grab that. We'll do a Control X, a Control V, happily in our shaders pack. And now the C2ME file we're going to do a Control X again, and that's going to go into our mods folder. I did that a little quick, so let me show you again. Here's the shader packs folder that we put the Photon file into. Now here's the mods folder that we're going to put the C2ME file into. So we're going to do a Control V there, and it sticks it there. And we should be all set here. So let's take a trip back to Modrinth and just make sure that all our files are in there and listed. And back in Modrinth, let's go over to our instance here. And you'll see the C2ME jar file has been added, as well as the Photon Shaders, the Photon -main zip has been added as well. So that's great. That's what we wanted to see. At this point, I believe we have everything we need, and we can boot up our new Minecraft instance for the first time. So let's give that a try. We do have an issue here. The version of Voxy and the version of Sodium we have apparently are not compatible, and that's okay. This should be pretty easy to fix. It tells us what to do. It's telling us we should replace our Sodium our Sodium installation, our Sodium version, with a 0.8.9, 0.9.10 or 0.8.11. So let's go over to our Sodium mod, and we will see if we can exchange it with one of those. Sodium's right here. It has a little switch versions icon here that we can click. And sure enough, Minecraft 26.1.2, 0.8.11 was one of the versions they said would work. So we're going to switch to that. And now we are going to try to play Minecraft again. All right, so Minecraft is loaded correctly. However, the volume is very loud and we're in windowed mode. So give me a moment. I'll get this instance of Minecraft looking more normal. We'll get on full screen and I'll be right back. All right, so we have Minecraft looking a bit more normal, at least what's normal for me. Let's jump into a world and just get at it, yeah? So let's go to single player. Let's do, let's see, what should we do? What should we do today? Let's call our world Infinite Horizons, because that's sort of how I feel like what this sort of set of mods allows us to do. We are going to start in creative mode, just because we're going to kind of zoom up to the top of the world, and I don't want to be bothered by mobs or anything like that. And then, yeah, let's create a world. Now this will take a little bit longer. You'll see a couple messages at the bottom of the screen. You'll see we're in a new world. Nothing looks particularly interesting at the moment. Let's sort of fly up into the air and we'll see what kind of area we're dealing with here. We got a lot of spruce. We got a little snow over there. Pretty flat land, which is a little bit surprising with Tectonic loaded as a mod. But when we sort of can see further, I'm sure it'll look a little different. So let's start with some chunky commands here, because we need to pre-generate our world. We're first going to set a radius of 512 chunks. So 512 would tell Chunky 512 blocks. We want to do 512 chunks, and so that's what we're going to set it as. That essentially means, because we're the center of the circle and this is a radius, the circle will extend 256 chunks. So we get a radius of 512, but 256 in every direction from where we're standing. So we'll hit enter and we'll see that Chunky has changed the radius to 8,192. I have never done the math, but I'm assuming that 8,192 is just our 512 chunks multiplied by 16, which is the number of blocks in a chunk, giving us that number. Only thing now we can do is Chunky, and we're going to do the start command. Now, when we do this, you will see new chunks loading in front of us. That's because I have Voxy on right now. For the purpose of the video, I wanted you guys to be able to see the world building in a time lapse. I do believe if you were to turn Voxy off while pre-generating these chunks with Chunky, it might pre-generate a little bit more quickly. It's up to you. Like I said, I'm doing it for the purpose of the video, but there's no reason to do it. You don't need to have Voxy on while running this command. If you did decide to turn Voxy off while loading the chunks using Chunky, you'll need to do one more step to bring that information in. So let's go into options first. We're going to go to video settings, and we're going to turn on Voxy. You'll see our Voxy render distance is at 512. We're going to hit apply and done. And now you'll see, obviously, we are not seeing our extra chunks that we load with Chunky. Now in this world, to sort of expedite the process, I set the Chunky area to a circle with a radius of 60 chunks. So it's much smaller than the example we're using for the main video, but this is just to show you how to do it. So we have Voxy on, but we're still not seeing our LODs load in. What we're going to do is a command here. We're going to do Voxy, tab it out. We're going to do import, and then we're going to do current. And what that'll do is that'll import all those chunky chunks into Voxy and let Voxy render LODs for those chunks. So let's hit enter and we'll see what happens. You see we get a new progress bar at the top, and very quickly it loads about 10,000 chunks. So now we'll get back to the main video and we can continue with whatever way you decided to proceed with this. All right, so let's hit enter and we'll see how much time this is going to take. I'm going to guess somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, but let's see. And we get our progress bar at the top, and initially it says about 40 minutes. We'll see what it actually ends up being. Let's do a little turn around. We'll see if we can see. Yep, there we go. So you can see chunks loading all around us as the progress bar continues to move. I'm just going to let this time lapse here, and then I'll come back when we're done and we'll check in and continue forward. All right, and so just like that, we have a big old sprawling world ahead of us. Now, obviously, this is not the world that you were envisioning when you clicked on the video. We still have a little bit of work to do. You can see there's a little bit of empty space in between our kind of vanilla rendered chunks and our LODs. And obviously, we are not using shaders yet, so yeah, there's all that. A couple ways we can get rid of this these sort of empty spots in between the chunks here. Real simple one. You can just walk over to them and they'll load as you get closer, and that's fine. That's the way I did in my first video, I think. But if you don't feel like doing that, that's fine. You'll see there's more empty chunks over here. Let's get away from this cloud. What we can do is we can go into options and our video settings. And what we'll do is we'll just increase our render distance out to like, I don't know, like 32 chunks or something in that range. Hit apply, and should fill those in pretty quickly. Yep, there you go. You can see it filled in over there. And if we look around, all the other sort of empty spots have been filled in also. So that works out well. Easy way to do it. Now, of course, don't forget the whole point of doing this with Voxy is we can set our render distance to something very low. Usually I use about 12 chunks. But play with your settings based on your, PC. Obviously that'll determine your frames per second and whatnot. Voxy is enabled, and you can see that the Voxy render distance is up to 512. We loaded about half of the chunks that we can see, I guess is the way of saying that, because we loaded 256 chunks in each direction, and this is allowing me to see 512. So theoretically, we could see farther than we loaded, which is amazing because I don't think I could ever see farther than what we've loaded. Yeah. Anyways, let's get the shaders going here. So as mentioned, this is obviously not the look we were going for when we started the video. What we're going to do is load up Photon Shaders, and that should improve the look of this world quite a bit. So let's go into options. We're going to go back into video settings. We're going to click on shader packs. The only one I have downloaded is the Photon Shaders. So we're going to click on apply. It'll definitely take a moment to load. And now this looks a little bit more like the world we want to play Minecraft in. Give you a little pan here. You can see the distance there. Everything looks very cool. A lot of ice over there, also looking very good. What I want to do now is get some elytra on, and we can sort of fly around and see what's what. So there are a couple cool things, specific cool things that Tectonic does to worlds. One of the first ones is coming up ahead here. You'll see that we're approaching a jungle biome, but there are all these cool little spikes coming up out of the ground with trees and whatnot on top of them. This is a specific type of generation with Tectonic. You won't see this in vanilla. And I just think it looks very cool. We do have another Tectonic feature coming up here. Rivers won't sort of run into large rock formations as much anymore. They'll actually go through the rock formations usually into, and come out as a river on the other side. I think it's a really cool addition. And yeah, that's one of the other sort of specific intentions of the Tectonic mod. One other thing Tectonic can do is give you deeper oceans. They can actually go down all the way to a deep slate level, which is very cool. Combined with the Photon Shaders, we get a lot of cool effects with the sun and whatnot, and just the deeper oceans are super, super creepy. And then, of course, lastly, these giant mountain ranges are probably the thing people think of mostly when talking about the Tectonic mod. Gives you larger mountain ranges that are more connected, cooler looking valleys. Yeah, it's just beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. So guys, I think that's it. I hope this video helps you get this sort of stack of mods set up if that's what you're trying to do. If you do succeed, please like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment about your specific hardware and what you did as far as how many chunks you loaded, how long it took you, how it's playing once it's loaded, that kind of thing. Might be useful for other players. I do appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe if you are so inclined, and I'll see you on the next video. Be well.